Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. A lot of people have trouble making biscuits. I've seen videos where people just say you mix things together and they're having trouble making biscuits, especially young people. The older people, we know how to do this. So I'm going to show you, and I'm actually going to let you watch how I make biscuits. So you can actually get, a bird's eye view, as they say, to see what I am doing. So first off, you need a cookie sheet. It's going to be ungreased, and you're going to have to set your oven. I got my recipe over here, so I'm going to be going back and forth. Now, this is a very old one. It's a very basic one. You shouldn't have to worry about it. This was the first biscuit recipe that I learned on. So you're going to set your oven to 450. All right. And you need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm not going to make this nutritious. I'm just going to give you the very basic recipe. You need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm repeating it again to make sure you hear me. Do not pack it. That's one thing you don't want to do. You just sit there and fill it up, level it off, be it with your finger or whatever, and put it in there. Never, ever pack it. That will make your biscuits heavy, and you don't want heavy biscuits. All right, we've got 2 cups of flour here. I'm going to have to leave my flour over here because I'm going to need it. We are going to need 2½ teaspoons of baking powder. Now, if you're using self-rising, you won't have to put salt or baking powder in it, so don't worry about it. See how I level it off? That's how you do your flour and your dry ingredients, always. If you pack them in, or you use a liquid measuring cup that has a spout on it, you have to shake it, and then you're going to make your biscuits heavy again, and then you're not going to be happy with your biscuits. Let's just say you won't be happy with them. Just make it gentle in that aspect, okay? Salt, I need a teaspoon. Shortening, we're going to need 1/4 of a cup. All right, but first we have to mix this up. You can use it with a fork, you can use a spoon, you can use your pastry cutter, but you're going to have to mix all of this up. So this way you'll actually learn how to make biscuits. I hear so many people cannot, and I'm tired of people saying you just take a little bit of this and you take a little bit of this. Now remember, if you're using self-rising flour, you add 2 cups, but do not add the salt or the baking powder. Now, if you're doing it my way, you're going to have to add the baking powder, the salt, and just plain all-purpose flour. And the reason I don't use self-rising flour is it's got other stuff in it, and they add more salt than necessary, and I don't like that much salt, so I'm very quick to bring it down. You need 1/4 of a cup of shortening. Now, that is 4 tablespoons. Now, if you want to measure it, it's very, very easy to measure it. You can just sit there and take a measuring cup, add it 3/4 of water, cold water, and just add shortening. And when the water level moves up to 1 cup, you have exactly 1/4. You can take it out if you wish to do it that way, but I'm going to do it this way. That's why I'm going to show you how to do it this way so you can see how it's all done. Now, when they say they're going to cut shortening in, what you're going to do is make this flour flaky, and that's exactly what you're going to do. It's a step that you also have to do when you're making pastries, especially pie crust. So if you learn this statement, you can actually learn to make a pie crust. So I'm going to use my pastry cutter. You can use 2 knives. Some people use their fingers. Some people use forks. I use a pastry cutter, and it's really nifty to have. It's something that you will always use when you bake. Now you're going to just keep on working this until it gets very, very crumbly. And as you can see exactly how it looks. The more crumbly it is, the more you get that flakiness, because the shortening flour gives it that lift that you want. If you don't do it real well, you'll find out that your flour, your biscuits will be a little on the heavier side and they won't be as flaky as you wish them to be. Now, see how mine is flaky? That's what you want. Now what you do, I'm taking a few extra steps. So you're going to put a well. When they say a well, this is what they mean. You're going to actually put a well in this. And you pour your milk right into the middle. That's 3/4 of a cup. Now what you're going to do is take the pastry from the edge and you start working it into that milk. Now you notice I haven't really handled the flour. I've used this. That is to make sure, because the more you handle it, the heavier it's going to get. This is why it's very important that you don't handle the biscuits too much. You're going to do a little bit of kneading, but very little. Very, very little. Now the reason most people turn their ovens on when they start to make something is it takes 15 to 20 minutes to get up to the temperature. So they assume within that time frame the oven will be hot then. So as soon as you make them, you can get them into the oven. These are things that we had to learn. I mean, to you it's like, why do you have to know that? You have to. Now you're going to take some flour, and I'm going to have to tilt you down lower now, because this is where you're going to see just my hands working. Now I've got to get this together to get it out of here so we can work it. See, I haven't even used all the flour yet in it. I'm still trying to get it up. Now I'm not pressing hard. I know it looks like I'm pressing it, but I'm not really pressing it hard. But I am giving it a light push to help finish picking up the rest of the flour. Now that's out of the way. That way I'll end up picking all those pieces up. You're going to pat this out. Now if it starts to stick, a little bit of flour on your hand, and you pat it out. About a 1/2 inch thick. Always keep some extra flour on this. Let me put it here so you can see. So you can do this, because it'll stick on the edge here and then you have to use your finger to push it out. But if you have flour here, you just sit there and press in. It comes out. I'll show you. See how easy that is? Just give it a little push or jar and they come out just like that. Now some people think you're going to throw this out, this part here. No, you collect all this. Shake the excess flour off. Work it just a little. Put some flour in the middle where it can get there, because you don't want it to stick when you're trying to do this. And you're going to flatten this back out again. I'll have to do a muffin and show you exactly how the muffins have to look when you make them. Then you take this little bit. You're going to make a nice little biscuit. You don't want to waste anything, can't afford it. Now, on your ungreased cookie sheet, you put them about 1 inch apart. You get so tired of people saying, oh, it's real easy, do this. If you don't know how to bake, this is very hard. And I don't want people to sit there and just throw a lot of stuff out and say it's not working, it's not working. So let's do it. Learn it right, learn the proper way. Now I'll turn it back right up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is be baking these when the oven hits 450. We are going to bake these for 12 to 15 minutes, and then we'll be back and see the texture, which is very important, because not only do you want to see, the biscuit has to be appealing. When you open it, you have to see that texture. The texture will tell you if it's going to be good or not. So you look for certain things, and I'll be showing you this. You also look at the bottom, because they don't want it to be burnt. So like cookies and biscuits, they can only get so much color on the bottom, and then after that, if you're in a contest, they're burnt. So you have to know these points. So I'm going to bring all these points to you and show you exactly what you have to look for to know if you have a good biscuit or not. So I'll be back as soon as my oven gets up there and I've cooked them 12 to 15 minutes. Okay, the biscuits are done. And here they are. See how they rose? We'll take a look at the color, and you can see how your biscuits should be. Now, if your oven is not calibrated, they might be darker or burnt or something. That's because the temperature that you put it at is not the temperature it's cooking at, and you need a thermometer, a special oven thermometer to check it. And how you do it is you use a cold oven, put your the thermometer, it's an oven thermometer, you hang it on the shelf. It'll show you how to do it. And what you do is you turn your oven on 350, give it 15-20 minutes, open the door and read the thermometer degrees. If it's at 375 or 325 or something like that, then it's off and you need to get it calibrated, and you need a professional to do that. But if your oven comes out to the right temperature, then you're fine. All right. Now, I'm going to use this because the biscuits are hot. As you can see how they rose, you see they have a light color on them. These are things that they look for in contests and for texture, and because look how flaky it looks. You see that? Now here's the bottom, and see it's light brown. That's exactly what they want. Now we're going to open it and see the texture on the inside. You don't grip it hard, you just barely hold it and pry it apart. Then you look at the inside and see how light that is. The final part is always, without adding butter or anything on it, you should be able to get a nice texture taste in your mouth. Oh, it's hot. Forgive me. All the flavors that you put together should come out beautifully. Taste that flakiness. The salt is not overpowering. The baking powder isn't overpowering, because you can taste that, but the object is to get all of these at the right taste, so they all mingle together in your mouth. And that's how you make excellent biscuits. After you try the first one, if you want butter and jelly, by all means, or you have gravy, pour over this. Anyway, enjoy your day, and I hope this helps you to learn how to make biscuits. I didn't realize how many people did not know how to make a biscuit. I hope that now you try it and surprise yourself and your loved ones. Take care. Bye-bye.